Welcome. This is the Academy of Adoption and Assisted Reproduction Attorneys State Series. And today this video will introduce you to Arizona law and our fellows that are in Arizona. So let's start with having them introduce themselves to us. And Heather, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Heather Strickland. I am a native of Tucson, Arizona, and my practice focuses solely on family formation through adoption and assisted reproduction. And I have been a fellow of the Academy since 2014.
Great. And Daniel?
Hi, my name is Dan Ziskin. I'm a lawyer in Phoenix, and I happen to be an adoptive parent. Our daughter is now 38, and we have twin boys through a fertility procedure. They're now 35. I've been doing adoptions for 39 years and surrogacies for 31 years. And I want to give you a brief overview of our law, and then we can talk about some of the details. Arizona passed a statute that they tried to make a felony, but it turned out that no one would go along with that. So we have a four-part statute. The first part says that no one can enter into or participate in the formation of a surrogate parentage contract. It doesn't mean contracts are illegal. It just means that they're unenforceable under Arizona law. Although we do have contracts based on other states' laws if they're jurisdiction, and our courts would likely enforce them. The second part says, and don't worry about this, that the woman who gives birth to the child is the mother of the child and entitled to custody. The third part says that if she's married, her husband is a presumptive father, but it's a rebuttable presumption. And the last part defines surrogacy in all possible ways. With regard to the second part, there was a couple named Seuss in Arizona who had triplets through a surrogate using their own genetics, got their names on the birth certificates, and then Mr. Seuss filed for divorce and argued in the divorce that his wife was not the mother of the children, that in fact the surrogate was because of the statute. That went up to our Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals ruled that if fatherhood, part 3 of the statute, was rebuttable, then equal protection of law required that motherhood be. And Mrs. Seuss could prove that she was the mother of the children, and then they got to fight for the next 18 years over child support and custody and all that. But it allows us to do surrogacy in Arizona. And that generally is an overview of surrogacy in Arizona.
All right. So Heather, the two of you you covered the big, what I consider the metropolises of Arizona, but of course Phoenix is gigantic. Is there variation throughout the state of Arizona in the implementation of ART and surrogacy?
Absolutely. We do have some counties that are fairly rural. And so sometimes we have to approach the cases a little bit differently if we're looking at some of the smaller or more rural counties. And that's where it's really important to speak with an attorney who's got experience across the state so that they can tell you based on your specific and individual circumstances, under what you're doing, we recommend this course of action. So it can vary across the state.
Dan, are there couples that, a lot of people are going to this website. The Academy is nationwide and international. So are there certain couples that you recommend stay away from the state of Nevada, or how does it play into it for single intended parents versus married?
Well, with regard to Arizona, all these cases are fact generated. So if you're using intended parents' genetics, sperm and eggs, going into a surrogate, I can get pre-birth orders or post-birth orders, depending on what we want, in those cases. If we have a situation where one intended parent is genetic and the other one is not, with donor egg or sperm, the other parent can be declared to be a legal parent, and I recommend that the legal parent then do a step-parent adoption. If they live in Arizona, they can do that here. If they're from somewhere else, they can do it where they live. I've done international surrogacies all over the world, and with surrogates here and intended parents in other countries. And we get the orders and they go back home happy until the kids become rotten teenagers. If you're dealing with a situation where you're doing donor sperm, donor egg, it's not a surrogacy. It's going into some other woman. It's an adoption, and all the rules about adoption will work. There's nothing in Arizona that requires anything about what can and can't be paid for in a surrogacy. And if you're doing a step parent adoption thereafter in Arizona, Arizona law exempts step parent adoptions from the payment rules. So if you're paying a surrogate $15,000 or $30,000 or whatever, and doing a step parent adoption, it doesn't matter. We also have backup plans in case some judge was to not grant the surrogacy, about getting the genetic parent on by acknowledgement, and then later doing a step parent adoption where the surrogate and, say, the genetic father sign consent to his wife adopting or spouse adopting. Does that
Great.
answer your question?
Yeah, you've got lots of options for a lot of different people, but what I'm hearing is they need to call one of our Arizona fellows, which I'm not. So the two of you are the experts in this by far. And Heather, you know, and I know Arizona is a large state and this is going to be a varied answer, but you know, as far as LGBT couples or individuals, is Arizona a friendly state for them? Things they need to take into consideration?
Absolutely. I think Arizona is a friendly state. However, they do need to take into consideration the location. Again, some of our more rural counties tend to be a little bit more conservative. And so while legally we may not have any issues having them declared to be a parent, there is also what they need to think about is how are they going to be treated at the hospital and things like that. So, but overall, Arizona is very LGBTQ family friendly.
Wonderful. So
And I also
Dan.
find, with regard to the rural counties, that parties can stipulate to venue, and therefore they can stipulate to have it in Phoenix, even though it's happening down in Bisbee or wherever, so that we can stay in a friendly county. And some of our rural counties are friendly. Down in Safford, there's a judge who I wish I could take all the cases to, because he granted them without question many years ago. So it just depends on the judge.
Good information. All right, for those that are listening, what I think we're hearing for sure is that you need to contact either Dan or Heather for additional information. Our fellows work really well together. The Academy is strong. I think these two believe in that also. And if you want their contact information, the Academy has a website. You will want to go to Adoption Art, that's ART.org. And so on that website, we've got a map. It'll lead you to each of our states and additional information on our fellows and additional information on the states. But reach out to them. They're happy to speak to you at any time regarding any assisted reproductive matter. And I want to say thank you again to you too. It's a pleasure having you as part of the Academy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.